It's recording. It says it's recording.
A sound check, a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4. I'ma go ahead and head out of the door.
Okay.
I'll be right back. I'ma be back.
We are brought to you by Empower You. Applying for college or moving abroad to the US, Canada, or the Netherlands? Not sure what school offers financial aid to Caribbean students? Looking for scholarship resources or just someone to talk to about the experience and get guidance? Check out Empower You. It's a nonprofit founded by yours truly with the values to empower, educate, and expand the opportunities for young Caribbean and minority students. Empower You offers college fact sheets, college application and resume proofreading and editing services, mentorship, and help with college applications or just figuring life out after high school. They secretly offer tutoring services too, but I didn't say that. All of their main services are free. For more information or if you're interested in donating to this fabulous organization, check out their website at empoweryou.online. That's empower you with the letter U, not the word, .online. Welcome to the Chattabox with your host, Nicole Parchani. Thank you all for being here, listening to this right now. It truly does mean a lot to me. Tonight's guest is my boyfriend, William Neumeyer. He's one of the most hardworking people I have ever met, and I brought him here tonight to share his story with you guys. So let's just get into it. But you're from Saginaw, Michigan. I would have never in my life had heard of, visited, or learned about this place, but it's so interesting, and I feel like filled with very like resilient people. I guess what was it like growing up there?
Man, Saginaw is crazy. It's a completely different lifestyle. I remember growing up as a kid, just seeing all different kinds of lifestyles. There's people that are in the streets just really trying to make it to the next day. There's people that are just working 9 to 5s. You know what I'm saying? In Saginaw, there's not a lot of money. I'll tell you that. There's not a lot of resources. There is a lot of violence. Man, I've lost, people that I went to high school with, probably like, 8, 9 people that I know that I went to high school with that have, got killed already. These are people, under the age of 22. Like, that's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, Saginaw on its own, you got to be resilient to make it out of a place like that. You got to be just you got to be hungry for something because there's not many resources. You're either going to play sports, get in the streets, or, it's the rare occasion that some people just are really smart, but most people don't even have the resources to, prepare for school or things like that in Saginaw. It's really crazy.
And where did you go to high school?
I went to Arthur Hill High School for like 3 years, up until my like halfway through my junior year or something like that. Yeah, halfway through my junior year, and then I graduated from Bridgeport High School.
In like you played sports, right? You played football in high school?
Yeah, I played football through all my years. I had some time playing baseball and wrestling too. I was just a big dude, so football is where I got it at.
When did you always want to play football, or like was it like I guess what got you into it?
Yeah, man. I just I like being aggressive. I was more, I was an aggressive person. I like, just running and smacking people and just going crazy, letting off some steam. I was a big dude too, so people kind of pushed that on you, like, oh man, you're a football player, aren't you? You're so big, stuff like that. And
I mean, even now people like ask you what you play.
yeah, but it is what it is. I stopped playing football after my freshman year of college, and I was working 3 jobs playing football, and so I just stopped doing that so I
While
could get
being
my
full
degree.
time student, mind you.
hmm
How many hours did you sleep when you were doing that?
Sometimes I didn't sleep. Sometimes maybe just 3 or 4.
See, that's crazy. Cause like, I mean, I for sure during college, like, prioritize sleep. Like, I never had any old nighters unless, like, I did it, for fun. I pretty much, like, I slept every night. I never drank coffee either. I don't know how, like, you could just go all day and not even, I don't know, like,
It's about the mindset, really. I mean, like I would always tell myself, "Oh, I'm not tired. I'm not tired. I'm not tired." Right, and that's cool. That works for so long until you're falling asleep driving down the road. I'm not tired. You fall asleep, then you hit a curb. Oh shit, maybe I am tired, and then you hit another one, and it's like, dang. Your body just starts shutting down. So it don't matter how mentally strong you are. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a point where your body's like, yo, chill out. We got to change.
but even still, I feel like you definitely hustled a lot in college because you had to pay for it all yourself.
Yeah. I mean, it's a grind. I had help from some sources. My aunt and whatnot.
She's so sweet. I love her.
Oh, beautiful lady.
Yeah. So where'd you graduate from college? Because you are a graduate.
I graduated from Eastern Michigan University, right? But
What's your major?
marketing. I have a bachelor's in business administration with a focus in marketing.
But you didn't always go to Eastern.
No, I started at a small private school, Concordia University. That's where I played football, and then I left there. I was like, what am I gonna do? I went to a community college. They were paying me to go to school. By the time you get your federal money, and
I
and I
didn't know about a refund until I came to America and I was like, wait, what? People are getting paid to go to college? I was like, this is
yep,
crazy.
I had to take out a loan to go to one school, and then you mean to tell me I could go to this school and you gonna pay me $2,000 to? All right, bet that. So I did that for 2 years, and then they had to deal with Eastern Michigan University. I knocked out my schoolwork there for another year and a half, and then I was done. So yeah, that was a journey that I never want to go back to. School taught me a lot. I was thankful to have one of my best friends that I grew up with. He was in the area. He went to the University of Michigan with you, man. And
Michael Breedlove.
yeah, yeah. I met you sophomore year, and I'm just blessed to have good people around me. I was surrounded with good people throughout the whole journey. Even the people that I met freshman year playing football with them guys, they'll forever be in my heart too. And they helped me just persevere and keep grinding.
I guess I'm curious, like, when you're on a football team, what is involved? Because I've never been on, like, I'm not a, me, I'm not a sport, nope. Sports is not
I
for
mean,
me. But I'm curious, like, what is it like being in a competitive sport?
it's a grind. It's a grind every day, every day. I remember like freshman year, like football is just like you wake up at 5, 6 a.m. You stretch, you eat breakfast, and then you got practice, and then you eat, and then you got film study, and then you got another practice. Then you might have weightlifting. Then you have a team meeting, and then you got 7 hours in between your last meeting and when you have to be up in the morning to stretch, right? You're pushing your body to the physical limit, to a mental limit. Now, football in high school, it wasn't as crazy, and we weren't that good, so maybe it should have been that crazy, right? But yeah, you gotta train. You gotta train like crazy to be the best. It's part of it. The biggest thing that I feel like I got out of football for one was the mentors, right? Like early on, you just have people that are there to motivate you, to just instill those basic principles, as a young man. I think there's a time, in your teenage years where like you got two paths, right? Like I'm gonna be a knucklehead or I'm gonna figure shit out. And I think you have mentors in your life that kind of help you figure that out. Hey man, cut that out. Like that's not gonna take you anywhere good. What do you want to do? Some things like that. So just having the mentors for one, and then the brotherhood, right? That's what's crazy, man. The people I played football with in high school, I knew these dudes since we were in, you know what I'm saying, fourth, fifth, sixth grade. Some of them before that, and that's a different type of bond. And I got cool with some people in college, but the people that I played football with in high school, it definitely was way different.
And what made you end up stop playing football?
Man, it was just too much. I was working, trying to play football, and I just realized, like, what is football gonna do for me? I realized all of these cats had, they were real busy. They were always working out, right? But none of them were necessarily getting cool internships or cool jobs right out of college, Everybody was running a dream of, oh, maybe I can get picked up. Maybe I can get picked up, Or like, then they go to grad school, man. None of that stuff really interested me. I was like, man, I'm out here beating my body up. Shoot, it's over, man. And I was gonna move too. I was gonna move to get my siblings, man. But then I just kept going to school, met you, and we chilling.
Do you want to talk about your siblings?
Yeah, why not?
So tell us about them.
Yeah,
Well, you have
man.
3 siblings.
I got 3 siblings. Yeah. So one is Colton, my little brother. On my dad's side, dope little dude. His birthday's coming up in June too. Probably he's gonna be mad at me. He's probably 8 or 9, something like that. And then I got a little sister on my mom's side, Tanaya. She's 11. Now maybe she might be 12 coming up in August. Yeah, her birthday's in August. And then Xander, man, his birthday's in April. They're all good kids. My mom made some bad decisions early on with the kids, and so I've been trying to recuperate from that. At least keep in touch with them. Try to build some type of stable, lifestyle so that I can bring them into my life. So
Have them
yeah,
come live here with us.
yeah.
Do you think they'd like living out here on the West Coast?
And I think they love it. Yeah, they live in Indianapolis. They not seeing nothing, man.
So what do you do out here on the West Coast?
Man, I love it out here. As of lately, I went mountain biking today. Went and got my back tire fixed. Man, last time I popped that boy, I was just riding. I think I hit a curb or something, popped it. So I went to the bike shop and got that fixed up. And yeah, I went through this mountain biking trail, man. I didn't know them trails was that serious. You going up and down these mountains and shit, you running over stumps, there's jumps going through there, riding over bridges, and I come to a spot, this is like a 35, 40-foot drop. I'm like, dang, man. But I was doing it. I only got one break, though, so I got to be careful because it gets serious.
You are definitely the braver out of the two of us. Like,
let me see, what else do we do, man? We like to go snowboarding and skiing out here. It's beautiful. I started snowboarding in Michigan like 3 years ago, and it was cool, but I didn't realize that we only had hills in Michigan. I'm telling you, just like little hills. And I came out here, and it was like, man, you going for a 15, 20-minute ride down
like
down on a piece of carbon fiber strapped to your feet. It's
the views
cool.
Are beautiful. The views are so amazing, like
breathtaking.
I feel like that's the thing I love most about skiing, which I'm surprised that I even do it. I definitely don't think I would have skied if I hadn't met you. I definitely don't think that's something I would have considered doing, just because I grew up without snow, like for Christmas we had bubbles, like that's what we had for snow. And so like to ski is incredible, and when you start to get good, it's like really peaceful when you're going down the mountain, and especially with the views that you see, it is incredible. And like everyone's just trying to support you, like everyone falls, like it's a learning thing for everybody. And it's really empowering when you get good at it, and you can make it down, a blue, a black diamond, like there's nothing like that.
And that's what I was going to say is it's like, everybody's at their own skill level, but it's something that you can always grow at. It's something where you get those small wins, and so it does feel good, You go down the same run 5 times, by the 5th time, you're like, man, I killed it. You know what I'm saying? You learn the terrain, you learn different things, you learn how to do things you didn't even know your body could do. You start getting muscles in places, and you're
Isn't
like,
that crazy though? Like there's so much strengths that we have that we don't know that we have, but we have them. And the only difference between like now and that person is like you tried.
Humans
something.
are amazing. Humans are amazing. And
incredible.
And I try to keep that in my mind, like today, I looked down the mountain biking path, and I was like, whoa, that's a long drop, And I thought, well, there's other people out here doing this, And so I just dropped in. And I was scared shitless, and my stomach dropped. But it was fun. I got back to the top, and I did it 4 more times. You know what I'm saying? Same with snowboard. I busted my ass. I'm telling you, over and over and over again. My homie Matt said that he felt me fall through the fucking mountain. I'm talking about 20, 30 feet away. And he's like, yo, I felt that. You know how hard somebody has to fall for
I
you
mean,
to
I've
feel
seen
them
you
through the mountain?
fall. It's pretty funny.
Oh, it is funny, but I fell a lot of times. But now it's worth it. I don't fall quite as much.
Yeah, and you go down the block diamonds like it's
I do
nothing.
all that shit. Hey, I'm not saying I'm good at it, but you come to spots where it's 15, 20 foot drops on boulders and stuff, and it's like,
Yeah, I stick to the blues the most. I'm surprised.
woo!
I'm so proud of myself because like
Oh, you did good,
when
girl.
we went with Jess, like I did all the blues in Mount Baker, which like the blues are like if you're like intermediate, I feel like you got like you're good if you can do the blues. I feel like you're like you can do anything at any place. I think if you can do blues, and I did them and I was so proud and it was so much fun and it's just like incredible. Like it's so, and it was so beautiful up there. The snow is so powdery. It's like a winter wonderland. You wouldn't even imagine. Like it's so
They get on
beautiful.
average like 650 inches of snow per year here. It's like, it's crazy. It's unreal.
I know, like even when I go to work now and I'm driving, I'm always stunned at the snow-capped mountains when I'm crossing the bridge to like go into Microsoft. Like I'm always like, "Oh my god, nature, you're showing off." You know, like damn, that's so beautiful. Like wow, just like wow. I get to see that every day. Like that is just like it makes me grateful, you know what I mean? Cuz I try to appreciate those little things. And it's incredible. You go from no snow up to like all there is snow. It's insane. And all it is like an hour, 2 hour drive.
Yeah, you can go from 60 degrees and it's chilling outside to, it's 20 degrees and there's 3 feet of snow freshly falling.
That's what I love about the Pacific Northwest. It's like you can do almost anything here. You can learn to fly. There's like seaplanes that land on like Lake Union. Absolutely stunning. People are kayaking, people are paddleboarding, sailing, people are biking, you know, hiking, camping, skydiving, like backpacking, snowboarding, and surfing, like all of this stuff you can do in this one place, and it's so beautiful. Like the trails here, the parks. I don't know what these trees are on, but I swear if these trees could talk, I would like be so in love to hear all of those amazing stories. And it's like so mystical in those forests. It's like moss covered trees and like there's different mushrooms growing in different places. And it's just so beautiful. Like I would swear you would see a leprechaun jump out at some point or something. Like it is just so refreshing walking through there. It's like such an energetic thing. You feel different when you're there.
Definitely. Definitely. I love the forest here. You got all the ferns and the moss and the light coming through, and
The
it's,
waterfalls, like it's just so beautiful.
man, even just riding through the woods on a bike, almost dying. No, I'm just playing. But like, you're riding through and the ferns are smacking you, and you got to duck under a tree, and you got to put your foot out and you touch a stump, and then you stop to get some water, and you see a squirrel. You get back on the bike and you almost hit a rabbit, and it's just all of this stuff going on. It's just like wow. And there's people that go home every day and watch TV.
I mean, that's about comfort though. Like comfort's an addictive drug that I think a lot of people unfortunately fall prey to and don't even realize it. But I think it's like life can be so hard that it's easy to just get comfortable. I mean, like I fight it every day when I tell myself to get up at 7 and then I don't because my bed's so comfortable and it's so cold and I don't want to get out of bed because it's too cold and well if I just stay here another hour like what harm will it do for real, like it's I'm the one setting this crazy goal, and then you just but then I think I think in those moments is really when you're supposed to challenge yourself, like that's when you have to do the 1 2 3 4 5 and get up and do it
That's crazy. We
anyways.
think of like I was just gonna tell them about the 5 second rule. So let's hear about that.
I forgot the name of the lady, which, like, I feel bad. I want to give her credit. Essentially, she wrote this book about the 5 second rule where when you experience doubt, count to 5 and do the thing you were going to do anyways. So it's like, if you are going to the gym but you're like doubting yourself, you just go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and you just go to the gym, you know? Or like if you need to get out of bed and you're like doubting yourself, you just count to 5 and you get up, you know? So that you don't allow that doubt to sit there and convince you to stay in that state of comfort.
So to piggyback off of what you said, like my understanding from what she was talking about is psychologically in the first couple seconds when you think about doing something, right? And I've been battling this coming home from work, thinking about if I want to work out or not, right? I'll go, oh yeah, let's go. You know, I had a good day at work. I'm gonna go to the gym and then I'll go to bed and it'll be perfect, right? And then like, you know, a couple minutes later I go, I just worked 10 hours. My feet hurt. And, you know, and I am kind of hungry, you know, and then I start justifying it and then I go, oh, if I had shoes in my truck, I would have just went. You know, but what that lady was saying is that there's a phase where you turn from, oh yeah, let's do that, to because it feels better to just not do it, right?
Well, it's not even that it feels better. It's just comfort wins. You know what I mean? The lazy part of you wins, you know? And it's not even like I think people mean to do it intentionally. Like I think everybody wants to have a, you know, sexy bod. Everybody wants to have good money in their bank account, but like to do the work is difficult. You know, to stay consistent is difficult, and I think that's where discipline comes in.
How many days does it take to form a habit?
66. I heard. I actually recently watched a YouTube video about that. Yeah,
wasn't there something else that was like 24, or it was less than that?
I thought it was 22.
For a long time, it was something way less than that.
I thought it was like 22.
So I like that you said that was 66.
66.
Yeah, I'll have to do some research on that because you know, forming habits are crazy. Like
yes, I actually read a book about that. I forget where's my Kindle is dead. But it was about Atomic Habits. I remember the author, but that's the book, Atomic Habits. I thought like when I was reading the book, it was really interesting because the way that he described habits seemed like it was like common sense. You know what I mean? It was like obviously you do something, if you make it easy for you to do it, you're more likely to do it, you know? And it was like simple stuff like that, but I was like thinking about it and I'm like, you know what, you're right. Sometimes it is that easy, you know? And I realized for the habits that I wanted to implement, I had to create an award system to give myself incentive to do it, you know, reward myself for the hard work. Because I'm also the type of person that like will set a goal, will achieve that goal, will be like happy for 2 seconds and then be on to the next goal. You know? And I realized that when I do that, it leads to burnout because what I'm doing is I never give myself the space to celebrate in the accomplishment because immediately my ego goes, well, of course you could have achieved that. Like anyone could have done that, you know? That is not the real work. You know what I mean? The real goal is the next one. That was just, you know, the baby step. Like anyone could have done that, which isn't good. And so I'm like working on retraining the way that I push myself, you know? But I do think it's interesting how each of us, how people motivate themselves to do things and like why people get comfortable with like staying complacent. And that's honestly one of my biggest fears is like becoming a person that no longer pushes themselves to grow. And that's honestly one of the reasons that I do love you is because you always challenge me in ways that I wouldn't have even considered to challenge myself in. Like skiing, for example, it was not something that I thought I needed to master, but yet it was a skill that was great because it showed me that you can learn anything at any age. The only thing stopping you is doing it. You know, actually taking the steps to do it. Like anyone, I feel like people don't realize it's easy to start a business. It's easy to start a podcast. It's easy to start a YouTube channel. The only thing that's hard about it is you getting out of your own way. Sometimes it's money. I will agree. Like sometimes you don't have the money to pay for maybe the equipment or something. But if there's a will, there's a way. And it's really just about how bad do you want it.
Yeah, and you know, it comes down to like, you have to put that out to the world. You know, you have to let people know, hey, I'm trying to start this podcast. You know, who do you know? Who do you know? Or at least even if they don't know anybody, at least tell them, hey, be on the lookout because this podcast is gonna be lit, or the business, you can go to a small business association for free, probably at your nearest college, and they can help you start a business. I mean, I filed an LLC here in Washington State for like under, $200 and something dollars, in under an hour. It's not as hard as we think. Take for granted, I do have a business degree. I had some prior knowledge on how to, file an LLC, but there's
There's
probably
the
100
internet.
YouTube videos
Yeah.
that will explain the same thing. And even though I have a degree, I still looked at YouTube videos. Oh, okay, yeah, that's the website right there. And I go do it, file it, call the people I do know, use my resources, and
The resources are there if you want to find them,
yeah.
like there's a way to really to get anything you really want. Like there's people that don't have any money that convince brands to send them equipment, if they can sell them the vision that they're trying to, manifest. But one thing I found to be really like influential in my ability to actually manifest my dreams is actually writing it down. The act of writing it down for me is step one in manifesting my dreams, because one, I just took an idea that was in another in another form of, I guess, like it was in its energetic form. I feel like it wasn't like in the physical realm, you know what I mean? It was like a thought, something that we don't exactly quite understand. But when you write it down, it like brings it immediately into this three-dimensional world that we live in.
Like it's
It's
real
here. Yeah, exactly. It's real. It exists on this piece of paper, you know? And so like anytime I see that, it's going to trigger that idea in my head, and it's like now I can move towards it. There are identities that we have of ourselves now that are limiting, but we don't realize that because it's all we know of ourselves. And it's kind of like, I think, yeah, it does take exposure to different cultures, to different ways of living, to different practices of thinking that does the world good. Because then the bad ideas have no chance. Because there's always a good idea, to like explain why we don't believe the bad idea. Well, what do you do now?
Right now, I'm an area manager at Amazon. So the facilities that pretty much distribute all of the Amazon packages to nearby delivery centers.
And how do you like that?
And it's cool. It's definitely hard work, but I'm a leader of about 50 to 100 people depending on the day, and I just love interacting with people. I love implementing different leadership strategies and really just being around people every day. And Amazon is a place where there's all different kinds of people from different backgrounds. From all over the world, really, and I really appreciate that. And I get to learn a lot every day. And Amazon is a place where you can grow quick, and so far it's been a good job. Let me see. I also just started a business, Blue Phoenix Services LLC, and right now it is just like handyman services, junk removal, painting, power washing, all of that good stuff. Christmas lighting in the wintertime. I just wanted to get things going. It's just I bought a truck, and so all of those things will pay off the truck and make some profit, and eventually grow that into something bigger.
I'm curious, like you've been obviously working out for a while now. Would you like to share your fitness journey? Because ours is completely different, and I feel like it's interesting.
When I was a kid, I mean, nobody around me really knew about, fitness the way that a human being should know about fitness in terms of like even just stretching, eating the right thing. I was a bigger dude even as a kid, so people always were like, "Oh, you're gonna play football? You're gonna play football?" And I did play football, and football is all about, oh, let's lift weights, let's get strong, all of this, but it's in the perspective of like get better for the team, get better to win, but not get better for you. And when I was younger, I was just fat, really. I was big and fat. And, at some point I started to proportion out. I started to, lift heavier. I say when I got to college, I started caring a little bit more. Just started really hitting it, talking to people. Hey man, what are you doing? And it always happens in the kitchen. It's always in the kitchen. It's about what you eat, how you eat it. I mean, it's probably like 30% in the gym.
But what do you do
Um,
now specifically? Like, what is your goals when it comes to your fitness? Like, why are you working out?
I
What,
mean, I
what
just want to be healthy. I just want to be healthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, like I want to gain muscle, but I want to live longer. I want to be healthy, and I want to be strong so I could do the things that I want to do in life. Right? I like to go mountain biking. I like to go hiking. I like to play basketball. I like to do whatever I want to do when I want to do it, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm in shape so that I can do what I love to do. If that makes sense.
for people that are like in the fitness, world, would you say you're bulking up or are you cutting?
Right now, I go through phases. I To be honest, I just work out right now. Like I'm not focused on, cutting or, I'm focused on gaining more muscle, staying healthy.
Well, like for me, I'm trying to gain weight. Like my goal is very clear. It took me a while to even realize I needed to gain weight because growing up I was always skinny, and like when you're skinny, especially in the world that we live in, being skinny is not bad. You know what I mean? But I realized that there is such a thing as too skinny.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like I nobody ever really told me like, Harsha, you should gain weight. Like people would be like, oh, you're skinny or it looks like you don't eat. But I eat. I have an appetite. I love food. But I just was always really skinny. But I always thought that, like it's good to be skinny. So I'm good. I should be lucky. I should be happy. But I realized I wasn't strong. I didn't feel like I was in my best shape, even though society was saying like, yeah, like you're skinny, that's great. Like you shouldn't try to gain weight. But as I have like worked out in the gym, and now like I do a lot of weight training, I would say. I don't really do cardio as much as
Mhm.
I did in the beginning, but I realized I don't have to burn fat right now. I need to be gaining muscle, gaining weight so that I can actually live long, like you said, and be, healthy and be able to run. And what really did it for me was my feet and the pain that I have.
Mhm.
And it made me realize, shit, I'm actually not doing a very good job taking care of this body of mine. And it forced me, I think, almost to recognize, like, hey, bro, like if you don't do something about your fit, and it wasn't even to say that I was unhealthy, because I, was fine. Like you go to the doctor, I pass all the checks, but I realized like for me, I need to gain weight. I need to strengthen my muscles. And it was also like I sit all the day, like all day. And I realized, like, well, wow, what is that doing to my body when, back in the day, humans were walking vast, stretches of land and in much more extreme and taxing situations than maybe I'm in now, as an engineer that sits behind a screen and is really like sitting a lot.
Some people probably take that for granted, And I want to ask you something. What do you do? What do you eat so that you can gain muscle? Because I think that's a challenge on its own, and I don't
It
think
was
people
hard.
really know
It
how
was
hard it is.
it is hard. So I'll start back by saying there was a time like in college where I stopped eating meat. I tried to go vegan. I will say I was like 90% plant-based when I was doing it really well. And the reason why I did that was because I care a lot about the planet. And so I figured like I would do my part, which is not eat meat, if it means that in the long term I'm doing a positive good for the planet. Plus I just don't like the idea of killing animals. It doesn't sit well with me, even though I understand now that it is a part of life. You know what I mean? And as long as you're appreciative, as long as you're intentful, you're grateful, it's okay. But I realized like when I was plant based, I actually wasn't doing my body a service. And I realized that because when I, have healthcare, I got my blood checked, which I think people should do. Like if you're going on a diet or exercise regime, like it's good to see where your body's at before you change something about what you're doing in your routine. So I got a blood test, and I basically found out that I wasn't taking care of my body very well. I became anemic, and you could see that in my like just energy levels. Like I was not, super energetic. I was like just tired or lazy. Even though I would push myself every day, I would feel like I was fine, but really I wasn't, you know? And so now I do eat meat. And the way that and it took me a while because even when I was anemic, like it curbed my appetite a bit. So like I wasn't really eating as much. Not because I didn't want to, I was just not hungry. Now I eat really like 4 times a day because I count my weight mass gainer as like a meal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So I have for me, I'm very consistent about it because I know how important this is in my long-term goals, and it's like important to me, and I look at it as an act of self-love, taking care of my body and my nutrition. So now I eat 4 meals a day. I have breakfast, which for me, like I will say I probably am still in a calorie deficit, but this is what I eat. So like right now, at least for this week, I have like either we have some pastries left, so we still have some waffles, or I'll have like a quiche, or I'll have oatmeal for breakfast, and then I will eat lunch, which now is like a quinoa kale, like green salad to get more greens because we've been slacking. Or I think we'll have like tacos. That can be lunch, and then for dinner, I'm making the trout still. So that's like, and then I will have like after the gym mass gainer, which is protein, but it also has like vitamins and carbs to help add calories to your day so that you can gain, mass, obviously. But
Yeah.
you don't drink mass gainer though.
No, I mean I just drink straight up protein. Like the mass gainers got, 1,200 calories per serving.
But I don't
Um,
even honestly have a whole serving. I'll have like 2 scoops out of the 4.
yeah, and I mean that's still 600 calories. The stuff I drink's like 300 calories. The same amount of protein almost.
Honestly, I do like my favorite type of protein is the whey protein, even though like I have had plant-based proteins and they are good, don't get me wrong. But the whey one I feel like just dissolves a lot better and it tastes really good.
What do you think about all the protein cookies they come out with nowadays?
I hate protein snacks. You know. The only ones I like are those complete cookies, but even they have like a weird taste. Like it's good. Those are I feel like the best for protein cookies, but it doesn't compare to like a real chocolate chip cookie, you
Yeah, that's
know?
what I was gonna say. Those cookies are pretty good. The snickerdoodle one is fire. But I
They're
mean,
good.
if you
They're
just
really
need some quick
good.
protein, something sweet, it hits.
Yeah, and it's like an easy like reward you can give yourself as well to
Mm-hmm.
help like just feel good about the fact that you went to the gym. I realized for me though, the way that I had to train myself to motivate myself to go to the gym every day was I had to make it about something greater that I would care too much about missing. You know what I mean? So like right now, the way that I trick myself to go to the gym, which isn't a trick, I don't really know. But I tell myself like, you do this because well, one, you get to go to the gym, and work on your body, which is really awesome. Two, I tell myself this is like a lifelong journey. You're not doing it just for, I don't know, to look hot on Instagram or whatever. Like you're doing this because you want when you're like you want to live as long as you can. You want to be in your best possible shape. And so it's like why not start now? It's like it's
Mm-hmm.
one of those things in life where the compound interest is like positive. You're not, in a type of environment where you would have to be on your feet every day walking and like, carrying stuff or like doing extraneous activities. You have the luxury of being in a beautiful office, you know what I mean? So I make up for like getting that luxury of sitting all day by, well, at least I can go work out for an hour. You know, that's not asking for much. And then it's like the more I do it, I just give myself, well, I'm trying to give myself gifts so that I'm like, ooh, you know? I'm curious. So, you are a very driven person and you have very clear goals that you're trying to achieve, but I'm curious like what is success going to look like for you or where I guess yeah, how do you find success for yourself?
And really, it's just like trying to win every day. Doing something. You got to start small. I think just hitting those little goals, those little milestones, and then eventually they turn into bigger ones, right? Like all right, I'm gonna make sure I get this much homework done every day, and then somehow I graduated college, right? I made it. It's just about being dedicated, being determined, being focused on some type of outcome. And I think as long as you put your energy towards, good things in the universe will give you good things back, right? Like that almost comes down to physics. What you put into the world, it'll come back.
I actually like watched this video. I don't know where. I don't know where, but it was basically talking about like when you prime yourself with negative thoughts. So you think about negative things like, oh, I had a shitty day. The weather sucked. I got cut off at traffic. It took so long to get there. I freaking hate what I'm doing right now. It all sucks. When I went to the gym, I dropped the bell. I hit my foot. That hurt. I burned dinner. Like the more you do that, you slowly start to prime yourself to look subconsciously for negative things. And if you do the opposite, like even if you like fake it till you make it, and that shit really does work, because it tricks your mind. Like if you start to think about positive things like, oh, I'm grateful I woke up today. Oh, yay, I'm grateful I have I had a lovely breakfast. Or, oh, the sun was out today. Oh, there's new leaves on the tree. Oh, that's so beautiful. I get to see the seasons. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm so lucky I have access to the internet, because not many people actually have access to the internet. I'm so grateful that I have friends in my life, or I have family. Like, you start to think about stuff from a positive lens, and more positive things pop up in your life. And it's like a weird thing, but it's like what you think is kind of what you amplify. And it's like the universe is listening, like God's listening, and everything you say, good or bad, is going to throw back at you.
That's powerful, right? Like that's almost deeper than some things that we can even comprehend, but it's like you take that leap of faith in the universe. I feel like, me personally, I know that if I'm putting out positive energy, I always get it in return somehow. I just feel it. Like I feel it in my body that I know that it's like a karma, you know what I'm saying? And it's coming back.
It feels good to do good though.
Yes.
It just feels like even if you're not getting anything in return, there's something like that feels good when you genuinely do something good in the world.
But you know why? It's because we've all been at a certain low, and we've all been at a certain high. Like it might be one homeless person giving to another homeless person. You don't know what type of level of need that people need in their lives. You know what I'm saying? Like
that is true.
That's why like feeling good is great. Like it's all kinds of crazy stuff, man.
But I feel like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like people forget, or I guess what I'm trying to say is like social media shows you like a small window of like what the world actually is, and like people forget that like there's people out there that live in tents, not because they want to.
Social media have you so distracted from what real life actually is, and I can't define what real life is because we're all living in a different reality, but I know that the reality that we perceive from what we see on Instagram
is not the world.
is not the world,
it's
right?
A small window into something much bigger.
But the way things are set up,
it's bad.
What we see on the internet is almost all we know. When we think about something, what you do? You go to Google, boop. Oh,
and people think that that's fact, and that's like the truth.
Man, people don't even barely read books anymore.
People don't read books.
I don't read enough books. I don't know if you can ever read enough books.
But then it's also like sometimes I wonder, a book is nothing more than one human's interpretation of a situation. You know what I mean? Like, what makes a book more credible than a blogger? On some level,
credibility is only based on you and what you perceive as credible by a particular source.
But I feel like it's hard because today we don't I feel like people are finding it's harder to know what is the truth because there's so much bullshit on the internet.
There's always going to be bullshit. I mean, but man,
like
it's
people
hard.
Like, for example, like cancel culture, like people get mad so easily on the internet and they think people only have one opinion. Like people don't change in a second. Like I can say something right now and immediately think about it and be like, you know what? I actually don't agree with that. But yet, like when it comes to the internet, people think like, oh, what I see, that is who they are. Oh, that's who they are right now. That's who they've always been. And it's like, nah, people change. Have we seemed to forget, have we forgotten people change?
Yeah, for sure. People do change, but on the internet, it's over. It's always there. People always gonna remember that.
I like Rachel showed, well, I was reading her paper, and in it talked about this Instagram influencer. It's not even a person, bro. It's an AI generated influencer, and it has like 3 million followers.
Wow.
Gets paid for ads. Is not even a real person. Like, again, this is not a real thing. Won awards as a person is not a person.
But it's
and is influencing people.
But somebody's behind that, right?
You would think.
Somebody said that.
Nah, but if it's an AI computer generated thing, then no, the algorithm.
Well, somebody created the AI.
Yeah, but that person, I mean, you could say, yeah, is the owner of the, AI thing. But still, like, it's acting as though it's its own entity. I don't know, man.
So they're getting paid.
You would think. I would assume so, right?
3 million
followers.
Yeah, and that they could be getting 10 million views too.
I mean, the thing, it's like it has its own ads, man. And it's not even a real thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. And AI is one of those things that I feel like people don't really understand.
But you want to get into AI, right?
Me?
Yeah.
On some level. I mean, machine learning is really interesting.
Or do you want to get into AR?
I want to get into both. I love virtual reality. I think it's the future, hands down. We're fucked, low key.
Why do you think it's the future?
Because it's just too captivating. It's too amazing.
Tell me about it.
So, you've used it before.
Yeah.
But essentially, so there's different. So there's the spectrum. On one side you have augmented reality, and on the other side you have mixed reality. So augmented reality is when the world around you is completely 100% digital, I believe. Hopefully I'm not messing this up. And then on the other side, mixed reality is when you can still perceive the room around you, but you can have virtual objects in it. So, for example, on one side you have Oculus, where you put it on and your vision is completely covered. You're not in your room. You're in your room, but you don't see your room. And then you have Microsoft's HoloLens, where it's more of like an overlay on your environment. So I'm still in my room, but now I see different artifacts in my room. Maybe I have some notes from meetings that I have, or I can like see my colleague, in our Teams call or something like that. Or I can like look at 3-dimensional figures in the room and turn it, kind of like Tony Stark's Jarvis system, which honestly, that is goals. I would love that, bro. But yeah, why I think it's the future is because, one, people are lazy. Let's be real. So if you can go virtual shopping in a virtual mall and see your friend avatars and like try on outfits and buy it, and your avatar looks 10 times hotter than you do in real life, you're telling me there's people that won't do that? There's catfishers out there now, like it's only going to get worse. And I just think it's going to be too entertaining for people not to want to do it. And I think it's going to be so good. Software is one of those things, like, it's really always a debate between hardware and software. How much hardware do you want? How much software do you want? Because technically you can do it in both, right? Mm-hmm. And I feel like in the future, a lot of what we do is going to be software driven. People don't realize, like, technology is changing the world as we know it, and we're only seeing the beginnings of that change in like the economic world. But AI and like autonomous driving and drones and like all of this technology that's coming, even like what they're doing with genetics, it is coming at an increasingly fast rate, and people don't seem to realize what that means for the world ahead of us. Honestly, I feel like the Homo Deus Sapiens 21 Lessons for the 21st Century are all great books that talk about what could happen with the rate that, like, what is happening with technology today. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think everyone should read it, because I think if you're a human and you're in a world and you aren't in the technical world, you should kind of know what the hell is going on. Because like, it is incredible. It is absolutely incredible. But I know engineers, and engineers love to make stuff. So there's going to be that one that wants to build that crazy thing. And like, if you don't check your software perfectly, which is pretty much impossible, you know what I mean? Like, you're always going to miss something. You have no idea, you know, what that could do, especially if you have AIs that are generating their own code.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, exactly. It can get scary. People don't, I mean, I do trust, you know, that the engineers will do the right thing.
Remember
but
we watched that one show and I think it like they had a boyfriend or a girlfriend that was a robot. What show? It was like Black Mirror or something.
Oh, you mean the one where it, like, copied, like, her boyfriend died, and so she, like, put all of his information in this, like, algorithm, and it created, like, an AI version of him where it would use, like, his speech patterns and stuff to talk back as though it was him, or
No,
text back.
there's that one, but there was a movie where the
Oh, she or her.
yes, I
The
think
girl,
it was her.
it was like
Yes.
he was dating the computer.
Yep.
That one was an interesting.
That's
but yeah,
crazy.
I honestly could see stuff like that. Like, people lonely. I mean,
I can see it coming to that.
I mean, people have, like, I don't know, man. People are into weird stuff. So
But that's crazy that a computer could get so good that it could.
I mean, computers already are way smarter than people today. There are computers that beat the best chess players today, that can solve problems at a faster rate than humans can today. They're working on quantum computers today. Do you know what, like, when they crack that, which I think Google might have, I'm not sure. I feel like I read something that they might have. That, oh my gosh, bro. There's going to be so much that we're going to be able to learn
What is
about
a
our
quantum
world.
computer?
So, a conventional computer, right, works in binary. So it's like a 0 or a 1. It's a static state. It has to be one or the other. In the quantum world, the rules are different. And you can actually be in between states at the same time. So now you can run calculations in parallel at speeds that the brain could not even compute, man. Like, at rates that we couldn't. It would take us so many generations to figure it out with human brains. This thing can do it in like a minute and like 35 seconds or something crazy like that. Not even, probably like 35 seconds. Like, it's that quick. And it's like complex calculations. Like, the formula for ammonium is one of the hardest human problems that we're trying to solve, because that's what we use in fertilizers and stuff like that. And this thing can find that in nothing, bro. I think they built 1 qubit, but like, they still have to scale. And quantum computers aren't really, I don't think, from my understanding, gonna be something that people use in their day-to-day.
Right.
It's more gonna be like, that's what's gonna support the cloud.
Oh,
you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So everything is going to run on the cloud, and the cloud is going to interface from the binary world that we use in computers to that quantum supercomputer shit.
That's crazy. What if computers just fail one day?
I mean,
What if the internet just goes down?
I
The
feel
world would
like
be lost.
I mean, it would be rough, I think, but I don't know. I feel like the engineers made that shit very resilient. But then, like, yeah, if a meteor came and destroyed, I don't know what would happen.
There's not like one hub somewhere that could just knock the internet out.
Nah, the internet is everywhere. It's in servers all over the world.
Man, this is crazy. But they could just limit the server use.
I mean, I don't know if, like, who is they?
The government.
Yeah, well, the government doesn't do that currently. So.
Currently. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, censorship is a real thing. Obviously, they do that in other countries, you know, where they limit what people have access to. But in the U.S., they say it's more free for all, right? More freedom.
Land of the free, home of the brave, right?
One thing I wanted to ask you about was how you lead people, because you are a manager at Amazon, and there are things that I think, like some of the books that we've read, that have shaped, you know, your leadership style. And I feel like you should share that with the world, because I think you're a great leader and a great motivator, especially, which is special.
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of got to just think about it from the other person's point of view, right? Like, we've all had jobs, we've all had responsibilities, we've all had somebody, you know, trying to tell us what to do. And so, one really big takeaway I took from a book I read a while back was a win-win relationship, right? Being a manager, being a leader, how do I get somebody to do something when, what am I doing for them? And as a manager, I think you're in a spot where people are looking up to you. You're in a spotlight, right? And you can either win their trust or lose their trust. And creating a win-win relationship, like you do that by, figuring out who a person is, right? And this is where like good listening skills, good communication skills come in, because you can't learn what somebody is about if you're always talking. You have to, kind of stimulate a conversation and learn about somebody and remember the small things, right? Start by remembering people's names.
And
And
pronouncing it correctly.
yeah, and pronouncing it correctly. You go out of your way and people remember that. And just learning, I know that you do music, or I know that, you have a daughter at home, or I remember that your birthday was this week. Just anything like that, goes a long way, especially if you manage a lot of people. But going back to creating that win-win relationship, like, what are your goals? Can I help you hit any of your goals? Can I help you grow as a person? And that's really deep, and in school we're taught to intrinsically motivate people, right? And so that comes back to, what are your goals? What do you actually want to do? And what resources can I leverage with my position of power, quote unquote power, right? To help you be the best you. And now every manager goes, their own route. But in another book that I was reading, right?
What book?
Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. There was a story in there where there was a young man and he was working at an airport, a small airport. And I think it was Dale Carnegie. He came and he went to go get a plane. And they got the plane and they got up in the air and the plane started failing. It almost crashed. What happened is the kid put the wrong gas in the airplane. He was working in the shop. And in the story, the point was that he really could have roasted this kid out, right? Like, dang, you almost costed my life. You made a stupid mistake. But in that moment, he said, you know what? I realized that this is a teaching lesson. And he kept his cool. And he said, you know what? I'm not even going to criticize you. You know what you did wrong. I think you're doing a good job. You might have just had a bad day. And the kid had tears in his eyes. And, he knew he had messed up. But from that moment, from him just taking that positively, the kid knew he was already going to beat himself up. But after that, he never made a mistake. And that's something he remembered for the rest of his life. He will withhold respect for that man forever because of that, And sometimes it comes down to that. How do you win that trust from people? How do you, it's that win-win that, just being a good person at the end of the day, And I think that's really powerful. Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People is an amazing book. So is The 7 Habits to Highly Effective People.
Yeah, I
by
think that's
Stephen
what
R.
it's called.
Covey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great books for sure. I definitely enjoyed reading them. But it just kind of goes to show you, like, treating people nicely
It's not that hard.
is really, yeah, it's not that hard. And most people, like, don't actively listen. They like ask you a question just so they, just to think of what to say next. Like, they don't really want to hear what you have to say, But I realized actually trying to build relationships with people is a win-win. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing wrong with getting to know the people that you're leading. And it's also because I believe there's a lot you can learn from people, even those that might work below you.
Yeah, and I believe in servant leadership, and that's one thing, my boss is big on, is like, I'm here to help you. I have no problem doing the same work as you, or even,
Exactly.
work that you're delegating to other people. I'm here for the team. That's really big. There's, people have egos and whatnot, and I tell people all the time, hey, I'm here, I'm ego free. I want to talk to you like a person so that we can communicate thoroughly and meet our objective, right? Because if I go to work every day with my ego getting in the way of me, or I'm a manager, so I said this, then really there's going to be a barrier there. And I like to break that barrier who are you as a person? Let's figure this out. How can I help you help me, right? And when you come off to people and you earn their respect and figure out how to get them to work hard for you, that's a forever, that's a relationship you can't beat. And again, it's a win-win. And it took me a while to realize that, but that's something that I've implemented and that I've thought about ever since I read, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it just changes the way that you interact, with people on an everyday basis. Whether you're a manager, a leader, or you're just an everyday person, it doesn't matter. Like,
But sometimes for me it's hard because I'm shy, and it's like I want to say hello to people, but I'm so shy and like socially anxious that I just don't. Like because it's easier for me to just stick to myself than to be brave enough to go introduce myself to someone that I don't know that might look at me crazy and be like, "Why is she saying hello? Like, who is this girl? Like, why are you over here? Can't you see him? You know what I mean?" But I realized that's all in my head, and I need to get out of my way. I realized like I've been in my head a lot lately. That's why it kind of took us a while, I feel like, to finish this episode too, was because I just kept doubting myself when there's absolutely no need.
but what happened? You did it, and it turned out great.
This is true. And it always, turns out good in the end. Like I've always realized in life, like no matter the ups and downs, it's been a great journey thus far. Like I'm extremely blessed, I feel, to just have had all the experiences that I've had so far. And sometimes I have to remind myself that like you don't need to work this hard. You don't need, you're doing like look at how all the things you've done already, all the places you've been, all the people you've met. There's so much to be grateful for. Because I can only imagine like in the 1800s, like people weren't traveling to Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like who traveling to Hawaii when you have a carriage, and like barely any food to eat because it's the Dust Bowl or, I don't know, the Great Depression or something. And it's just like I feel like people sometimes forget how awesome life is today. Like there's so much that we have. And I wanted to like kind of talk to you also about the idea of like scarcity. And like I feel like part of the world, like part of marketing is to sell the idea that we don't have enough, that we need more, when there's like so much that we already have. Like there's enough food on the planet to feed the world, and yet people starve. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, we just don't take care of things the right way. There's so many restaurants throwing away food and people wasting water, and we just take things for granted. We think it's sweet right now, but we keep, the population is always growing, the resources are always depleting, and at some point we're gonna have to pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is like who's gonna have to pay for it?
Yeah, it's gonna be down the line, our kids, their kids, somewhere.
I feel like it's us, bro. Like climate change is really like the predictions of the effects of climate change are within our lifetime.
We'll see what happens. All we can do is do the best we can as individuals and influencers to, do the right thing.
And I feel like we try, but I also think it's important that companies also hold themselves accountable, which is one of the reasons I do love working for Microsoft, is because they have goals that align with keeping the planet healthy, having there be a future. Because what's the point, really, if there's no, like, why even build technology to empower the world if there is no future?
Yeah, exactly.
And so, like, Microsoft has, like, a 2030 goal to be carbon negative, carbon zero, which is amazing. Like, they push to have sustainable packaging. All of, like, our products go through rigorous, like, environmental testing, which is, like, as someone that has bought consumers, now being on the other side and actually building consumer technology, like, people do not realize how much work goes into the stuff that they use every day. Like, they really don't realize how much stuff goes into, like, if you turn on your iPad and it just turns on, like, the work to get that thing to turn on when you, like, turn back the screen is, like, a whole, like, load of work across different teams to get that feature to work. We have no idea how hard all these engineers work to give us all of these amazing things that we use every day. It makes me so grateful, but also so empowered, because like now I'm a part of that. You know?
Proud of you.
Aw, thank you, babe. I appreciate it. Any last words?
Nope.
What you about to do now?
About to eat some tacos.
That still smells so good. You guys can't smell it, but we've been making tinga chicken tacos this whole time. So good. Okay, well, till next time, this is the Chattabox. New episodes every third Wednesday. Follow us on Instagram at the.chattabox.